Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage. I'm Leslie Watkins, and today is Marvelous Monday. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and New Year's, and I hope you're excited for what the new year has to bring. I know I am. I've been really busy, as you know, preparing all my classes and my various technology and all the work I've been doing with social media and so forth. And this new year, I'm hoping that everything comes together and I can present to you an even smoother way of joining me for my art classes, both the watercolor and the paper crafting. So I wanted to explain a little bit to you about how that works. You hear me say, please subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage each time, and I always post it down below my videos. That's because that way I can send you the information about the classes in more detail. So when you subscribe to Notes, you're not subscribing to anything in particular. It's absolutely free. It's just a newsletter essentially, and it tells you a little bit about what I'm doing, what's coming up for that month, what's happening here at Dandelion Cottage, and there's a lot of links in there. So it will help you to get to some free videos. It will help you to learn more about different classes, how you can join my design team if you'd like to take your work a step further, and also how to subscribe to things. Oh, that phone. Okay, hang on just a second. Sorry. How many of you have robocalls at your house? If you were looking for me last Saturday, and I wasn't here, it's because I was busy changing my service, trying to decrease the amount of robocalls coming in, and I'm still in the process of doing that. I've hit a couple of glitches, so I apologize for that interruption. So annoying. Anyway, what I was saying was that if you subscribe to Notes, I can then give you a lot of added benefit, a lot of more information, a means to register for the classes, subscribe to the Watercolor Card of the Month Club, and also know about what events I have coming up, like bingo events and creative parties, and just a lot of stuff. So please subscribe to Notes if you haven't done that already. I will be posting that information down below. If you want to hurry up and get there, you can go to my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com and find the drop-down menu for Notes and subscribe that way. So today I have something really exciting to share with you. So let me show you what I have. You remember that I was doing a box last week with the Dragonfly Garden, and this is the little note card box that I made. I embellished it a little bit further. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a box from scratch, and I'm going to be using a lot of products from the new mini catalog, and this is a catalog that comes out tomorrow, so it's really exciting. There's a lot of really beautiful stuff in it. I can show you what the cover looks like, but I can't show you what's on the inside. So let me just see where that is. I'll show you that in a minute. I can't find it right now. I know it's here someplace. But it has a wonderful selection of products that I'm going to be featuring in the next several weeks. Now, when I offer my classes, I always include a list of supplies and materials, whether it's the watercolor or the paper crafting classes. And over the years of having done this, I've found that working with good quality products really makes a difference, because it's going to help you to not feel frustrated. It's going to make it easier for you to have good success. So when I recommend certain papers, whether it's for watercolor or paper crafting, they're really good quality papers. They're not going to crack, they're not going to discolor, they're not going to be flimsy or buckle, and that's pretty much how I discovered Stampin' Up!, which is the company that I've teamed up with to be able to give you really good quality products. And there is a ton in there. I know it's overwhelming, and there's a lot of things so that everybody can find something that they'd like. But I'm going to point you to some of the essential things that will really help you to get off to a good start, the things that you will use every day, and things that are good quality and will give you good results. And so for paper crafting, I recommend a trimmer. I recommend a bone folder, and I recommend snips. These are the top 3 essential tools that you'll be using day after day when you're working on your projects. And the other thing that I use that you see me talk about quite a lot is this liquid glue. And I like this because it's archival, it's good and strong, it has a little bit of forgiveness built into it, and it also has a really nice fine tip nozzle so that you can do precision work. And with just these things, you can do quite a lot. And I'm going to be demonstrating some of these things today as I make this box. So let me just get some paper here. With the Dragonfly Garden Suite, you can also get the Dandy Garden 6x6 Designer Series paper. And these are just little paper packs that have beautiful designs on both sides, and they all coordinate with the other products in regard to color. So for instance, I've already gone ahead and I've begun getting the pieces prepared for our box today. So this is going to be the bottom of the box, and this color is called Mossy Meadow. This is going to be the top of the box. I'll show you that in a minute. And I've selected, let me keep this out for a second so you can see, I've selected these papers because they have the Mossy Meadow, and this is Blackberry Bliss. I'm going to be using that. And I also have some of this beautiful ribbon. Okay, so everything coordinates perfectly. The colors are really beautiful, and the artwork is terrific. This particular package really speaks to me because, first of all, it contains dandelions, and as you know, the name of my house is Dandelion Cottage, and that's also the name of my design team. So I'm going to be using this quite a bit. And I wanted to show you a box that was a little more elaborate than just the ready-made box. This is an example of a ready-made box with just some panels on it, but you can also customize these things to any size you like. later this month I will be having a box making workshop where I show you how to do 3 different types of boxes from start to finish. We'll be doing a simple lidded box, a reinforced box, and an explosion box. So today this is kind of a combination simple box and reinforced box. And this is the configuration of the papers, and I designed this box so that it would use 1 sheet of 8.5 by 11 standard size cardstock perfectly with very little waste. Just 2 little strips and just these little squares were all that was left over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin to decorate the box while it's flat so you can see the process. And I've already cut out some pieces. So one of the things I want to do is use copper accents. So these are some copper foil pieces that I have ready to go. These beautiful pieces with the stitched detail on the edges were cut out with dies, and these other panels are for the sides of the box, and these I just used the trimmer on. So now what I want to do is I want to include some of these beautiful papers to decorate it further. So let's start doing that. The other thing I use quite a bit is my little ruler. So I'm going to be using that to just check my sizes, and I'm going to get my trimmer out. If you would like a catalog, one of the new catalogs that have all of these products in it, you can let me know in that newsletter that I told you about, notes. When you go to the registration form, there is a place where you can also order a catalog from me, and I'll be happy to send that out to you. Along with the new mini catalog, I'll also be sending you a celebration brochure. So Celebration is a special promotion that comes around twice a year. It only lasts for about 2 months, and for every $50 that you spend, you get a free product. And some of these things can be a stamp set that has a value of about $20, or it could be designer series paper. For $100, you could get a double promotion. So it's pretty exciting, and there's a lot of things to choose from. So if you'd like to get the new catalog plus the celebration brochure, I'll be happy to send that to you. Just let me know in the registration form. And you can do that separately. You don't have to register for class for the catalog. All right, so I have, this is for the top. Let me get a little bit organized here. These are all my top pieces. And then I have the 4 side pieces for the bottom of the box, and I have 4 side pieces for the lid. And this pattern with the dragonflies is going to be the main design, and then I'm going to be using these other patterns for sort of background interest. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to be using this one for the sides. Make sure I have enough out for this. Doing a little bit of design process here with you. Okay. So I think if I measure this, these need to be 1.5 wide by 5. So let's see. One and a half. One and a half. Alrighty. And then just going to cut these at 5. We had a snow here last night, and everything outside is just looking beautiful. And all the birds and squirrels have been busy at the feeder. Got a lot of woodpeckers this year, which I really like to see. Okay, we're going to make that 3 3/4. Let me see that again. Just want to be sure. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to glue these down a little bit ahead of time because it takes a little bit longer for the paper to adhere to the foil because it's not as absorbent. And I'm going to be very careful not to get glue. There we go. And I'm just going to straighten that out a little bit. I'll tell you the dimensions of this box in just a minute. Okay. Now after I do the video today, I'm going to make a list of all of the products that I've used, and you'll be able to go to the online store and purchase these things so that you can follow along. And if you sign up for this month's card class, which is going to feature this whole, well, not everything, but a lot of things that you'll see me using today, you'll be all set to participate with that as well. There'll also be a PDF with full instructions and measurements, so if you just want the PDF and you don't want to sign up for the class, you'll have that option as well. So I'm just going to put these aside for the moment so we can cut out our dragonfly design. And I want to be careful that I'm keeping this paper right side up. So this piece will measure a little bit smaller. So this is going to be 4.5 by, let's see, I want enough of this purple or blackberry bliss to show. So let's see, 4.5. We'll try it at 1.25 and see if that's enough. So I'm measuring on this side of the trimmer now. When you use the trimmer, your paper is resting across this straight edge up on the top, and that's going to ensure that your cuts are nice and true, so you don't get any lopsided cuts. All right, that looks good to me. So let me just check that one more time. Okay, so 4 3/4. And I think I want to get that dandelion on there, so I'm going to measure it this way. Okay. And 1.25. All right, and I think I like this side, so I'm going to do it this way. So it's, you know, check out your design and see what images you want to include. I think I'll go this way. Okay, and then we've got 2 more smaller pieces. So let's do those. And this little leftover piece is perfect for a card, so I'm going to hang on to that. And for my side pieces, the length is going to be at 3.5. Okay. Under the snow, over by the wood pile, I have Christmas roses still blooming, and they are a beautiful white flower, fairly large. No, they're about 2.5 inches to 3 inches in diameter, and they bloom this time of year here in my Zone 5 garden. And I have them over by my wood pile, so when I go out and get my firewood, I can see them. And on Wednesday, for Watercolor Wednesday, I'm going to go out there and shovel out a couple to use as subjects, and I'll be showing you how you can paint a white flower with watercolor, because I get a lot of questions about how to paint white with watercolors. So if that's something that you're interested in, please come back at 12 noon. I do a watercolor every Wednesday. And these are just fairly quick little studies. They usually take me anywhere from 20 minutes to 40 minutes to do. And you can use these to decorate your cards, your tags, your boxes, or just fill your watercolor sketchbook for practice, or maybe even frame one. So I hope you'll join me for that. And if you like and subscribe down below, I think you can also get notifications of when I have a live coming up, so you won't miss any. Okay, so there are our side panels for the bottom of the box. I'll give you a better look at those. Very pretty. There we go. All right, so let's just get the side panels for the top of the box ready. So here are my copper strips, and for these I have to make a decision. I have two papers that I like quite a lot. I think I like this one. So these are going to be fairly narrow pieces. So the copper measures 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to cut these strips at 1/2 inch, and the long ones are going to be 5 1/4, and the short ones will be 4. So Here's my 5 inches. And I'm going to use the right side of the cutter so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. 1, 2, wait a second, I think I measured that wrong. Let's see what we've got here. All right, I wanted that to be 5 1/4, so let me just do that again. Okay. There we go. 5 1/4. And then these will be my 4. Okay. One of the things I'm going to be adding to my Facebook group for my team is a section called tips, or I should say tools and techniques. And it's going to be a kind of a library that if you want to look up how to use a certain tool or do a certain technique, you'll be able to go there, look it up, and find a video that shows you how to do it. I've gotten some questions about heat embossing lately, and so that's going to be the first one that I do. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview today on what heat embossing looks like, because when we get to the decoration of the box, I'm going to be using some beautiful heat embossed dragonflies, and they came out really nicely, so I want to share that with you. Okay, so there are our sides to both the lid and the bottom of the box. Now here's the lid, and I have these pieces that I want to start building. So let's get the big piece down first. This copper foil paper is really sturdy, and it's I mean it is, I don't know if you can tell, but this is really beautiful material to use on your boxes. This is going to add a lot of strength so that this box becomes something that that will hold up, that you'll keep for a long time, or if you're going to be using it to give a present to somebody, they'll want to keep it, and it'll be the sort of thing that can be displayed on your, on your dresser or your coffee table. So you want it to have a nice substance to it, and this foil paper really does that beautifully. It's available also in other colors. We have gold and silver. Today I'm using the copper because I think it works really well with the dragonflies. And but you do want to make sure that you allow a little extra time for the foil cardstock to dry, because it takes a little bit longer since it's not as absorbent as the matte paper or the matte cardstock. And then I think, so I have these other two layers. Let's see. This box is going to feature a lot of layering. So I'm going to add some of this, I think. Let's see what that looks like. So this is going to be 3 3/4. Oops. Wrong. 4 3/4. Let me see. Let me try that again. What did I do there? Oh, I cut it at 2 3/4. Ugh, okay. It happens. Let's try that again. That won't go to waste. There we go. Now, if you're somebody from my Something Old, Something New group, which is a Facebook group I have that's open to anybody who has retired Stampin' Up! Products, this is a great way to use up some of your beautiful old DSPs that you have stashed away. There we go. I'm just going to keep building this up. So if you were using papers that you already have on hand, I would just go into the stash and start selecting papers by color. So figure out what it is that you have a lot of that you'd like to use. And it doesn't have to be from the same pack. You can mix it up. You'll see that in this particular project, I'm going to be using some finer patterns and some busier patterns. Okay, so what I mean by that is, like, I would call this a medium pattern, and this a fine pattern. And then let's see if I can find something bigger. Well, you know, something that has a bigger image. All right, so there is this layer. Now I've got two more of these. So I think this one will go on next. And when I get to the upper layer, I'm going to begin to bump it up with some dimensionals to give it a little more height. There we go. I'm just going to put that aside to begin to set up. And I think you can already start to see how this is coming together. And we haven't even gotten to the fun part yet, which is going to be the decorating of the box. So I'm going to let the lid dry for a minute, and while that's doing that, I'm going to start to assemble the side panels on the bottom of the box. This is definitely a more advanced project because it does involve the making of a box from scratch, even though it's a really easy one, and I'll show you how to do that in just a little while. But it also is going to be a more elaborate project because of all of the layers and all of the embellishments that will be used to decorate it. So you may not be ready to dive in and do a project like this in the beginning, but it will give you an idea of where you can go with some of these paper crafting materials and techniques. Okay, so I'm being careful to place these so that they're right side up. So each side is going to have a different direction. And at the end of this video, I'll also show you an example of an explosion box that I did last fall that has a very elaborate top. The bottom is pretty elaborate too, but it's really the top that I want to share with you. Here we go. Make sure these are all good and straight. looks pretty good. And I'm going to give them a burnish, so I'm just going to flip it over, and with the side of my bone folder, all right, now this is ready to be put together. So I just want to point out that on these tabs that I cut out, I did angle them slightly. So I took a tiny wedge. So I don't know if you can see that. If I put this behind here, maybe you can see that little space right there. That's just that tiny sliver I removed from each side of the corner tabs. And that's just to remove the excess bulk from the paper. So you don't get any little pieces sticking out the top. So then just being careful that the corners join up nicely. I'm just holding that for a moment. And same thing over here. Okay, corners are important. You want to make sure that that comes together nicely. And then these. Okay. Just want to make sure that you have a nice smooth surface. And then once again, bone folder to get those tabs. All right, so there is the bottom of our box. And I love the way that looks. And it's got a nice heft to it. And you can always line the inside of your box as well. So if you have some pretty coordinating paper, you can put that down in there, and I will probably do that with this box, but I don't know if we'll have time to get to that today, but I want to move on to the lid right now. So let's get these side panels on the lid. And there is a little pattern on here. I'm going to have it so that they sort of loop around to the bottom. Just like so. Okay. Gonna give that a burnish. Now before I assemble the lid, I want to get one more layer on there. So let's see, I've got this is going to be the tippy top of the box. And I think I want to include this pattern. I like that. Let's measure again. So that's going to be 4 by, let me see. Right, that's a little bit of an off, it's not an exact increment, so let's just double check on that. 4 by, let's try 2.5. We'll see how that looks. Looks all right there. I'm going to remove just a tiny bit just to customize it. These die cuts are not exact, so this was 4. I'm going to take it down to 3 7/8. Let's see how that looks. That's better there. And I think that looks better there too. Okay. There we go. Okay, but in the case of this layer, I want to raise this up a tiny bit. So to do that, I'm going to use some dimensionals, and in this case I'm going to be using the black dimensionals because I don't want them to show as much from the sides. So these are the standard size dimensionals, but they are black, and I'm going to put them away from the edges. I'll get one in each corner. using plenty because I want this layer to be very supported. There we go. And I'm going to stand up so I can see this from above. Okay, that looks good. All right, so that is our lid and our bottom ready to be decorated. So I'm just going to put this together. Now this is an example of a reinforced box. So what that means is that there is a double layer and it makes it super sturdy, but it also makes it look very finished. So when you assemble your boxes this way, you won't be able to see the tabs on the inside because they'll be covered up by the flap. So I'm just going to put this together and hold this for a minute. Let that set up. So again, I'm paying attention to the corners. All right, and I'm just pinching that together with my thumb and my fingers. Do the same thing here. Now if you have a little bit of glue coming out like that, just grab a tissue and wipe it away. It'll dry clear. I'm giving it a good squeeze so it's coming out. I'm just making my way around all four corners. And I think you can see that those black dimensionals under that upper layer have disappeared. So it's nice to be able to have that option of using either the black or the white dimensionals. I keep both on hand, and they're right in front of me on my work area here. Okay, now I'm going to grab my bone folder, give that a good burnish. And then I'm going to do my flaps. I'm just bending them out so I can get the glue on them a little bit easier. And I'll start with the two long ones. Tuck those in. Hold it for just a moment. Now, for the rest of the month, on both my Marvelous Mondays and my paper crafting Saturdays, I'm going to be featuring products from the new catalog. So I may have some more of this Dragonfly Garden. I'm going to be doing the Dandy Garden. We also have something that features berries, which is adorable. So sweet strawberry. And that comes as a bundle with a punch, as does this one. I haven't shown you the punch yet, but I'm going to show you that in just a minute. Okay, now again with the bone folder, I think you can see why this is so important. If you get a beginner's set of the paper trimmer, the bone folder, the liquid glue, and a pack of dimensionals, you will qualify for a free product from the celebration brochure, because that will come to just about $50. And of course you can add anything else you might like to that as well. But if you spend at least $50 or a minimum of $50, you're going to be able to select from free product, which is really exciting. And it's not just that first $50 either, it's every $50. So if you spend $100 or $150 or $200, for $200 you'll be able to select 4 different items. And they're nice, they're really nice. So let me know if you need any help making a decision. You can reach me through my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com. You can send me an email, or if you subscribe to Notes, you'll be able to contact me that way as well. And also in Notes, when you subscribe to Notes, you'll be able to see some of these recommended items, and you'll be able to shop for them with one-click shopping. Alrighty, so there is our lid. Let's find our base. Make sure that I don't want to catch the corner there. There we go. Alright, so there's our box, and that has a nice snug fit, and it's very beautiful. It's got a nice weight to it. Alright, now we're going to decorate our box. So I mentioned something called heat embossing a little while ago. And here is an example of some dragonflies that I stamped. And I used this dragonfly in the set right here. And I stamped them on this translucent vellum. Alright, and then I added copper embossing powder to match the copper on the box. And that gave me this beautiful shimmering dragonfly with translucent wings. Now this is the punch that comes with the bundle, so you can get the Dragonfly Garden stamp set and the punch together in a bundle. You'll save 10% when you do it that way. And I'm just going to, let me grab this one, it's a little closer to the edge. Get that lined up. No, I have to trim off a little bit. Alright, so I'm just going to trim off a little strip off the bottom so I can get it into the punch so it fits perfectly. And this punch, by the way, has 2 dragonflies in it. It has this big one that fits the stamp, and then it has this little one, and we're going to be using that little one as well. I've already punched out some tiny dragonflies. So you're just going to get that lined up. Right where you want it. And there you have, I don't know if you can see the shimmer. Maybe if I bend the wings a little bit, you'll be able to see. So I'm just going to give them a slight curl so that they pick up the light a little bit better. You can bend them up. There you go. Now you can see how shiny and beautiful they are. Ooh, that one just flew away. Okay. I'm gonna cut out a couple more. I'm not sure exactly how many I'm going to use today, but I'll have 3 ready to go. And of course, when you have all these things, it means that you can make an endless supply of all these elements for your projects. And if you just want to try it out, if you don't want to invest in the stamp sets and the tools and so forth all at once, then sign up for one of my classes. And in the class kit, you'll have everything that you need to follow along. And that's a great way to try it out, see if it's something that you like. Every month I have different classes. Mostly they're card classes, but sometimes we do 3D projects as well, like an easy box or a gift bag or a little treat box. So that's another reason why it's a good idea to sign up for notes so that you can see what's coming up and try things out before you buy. Alright, so I'm going to put one more layer on here, and this is going to be, I have to hold this closer so I can see it. Okay, so that's going to be 3 1/4 by 1 3/4, and I may have to fine tune that a little bit. So let's just get started with 1 3/4. And we'll make that well, I think it needs to be 3 1/8. So we'll start there and take another look. Perfect. Okay, that looks good to me. Alright, let's add our dragonflies. I also have these little dragonflies. So these are the ones that were punched out using the tinier dragonfly, and I did these in the copper foil. So maybe don't want to overdo it. Grab a couple of these, and I'm just, again, I'm bending the wings up so that they have a little more dimension. Have them going in different directions. Alright, well that looks pretty good to me. Something like that. And again, I'm going back to those black dimensionals. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip out a tiny portion. Oops, you can't see that. Just snipping out a tiny portion from the edge here. Just a narrow piece that I can put on the bottom. Am I in the camera? There you go. Alright, so just like that. A little tiny piece. I'll let that one go in one direction. Grab some more. There we go. Other one. Now I'm not going to add a sentiment or a message on this box because I want to keep this as a objet d'art, something that somebody will keep and put on display. So I'm just going to keep it purely decorative, but you can do whatever you like. So if you want to add a message on your box, you can do that too. So I'm going to have him flying in like so. Alright, and I had thought that I might use some ribbon, but I think that that would be a bit much at this point, so I'm just going to keep it like that. The only other thing I want to add is a couple of these beautiful iridescent pearls. And I'm not sure if these are available anymore, but there are a lot of different embellishments that you could use. So it could be any kind of pearl, white or otherwise. You could use your rhinestones or some of the, what are they called? The gilded gems would be great. But I have these handies, and I like the way the iridescence looks with the dragonfly. So I'm going to add three of these pearls. Maybe, let's see, maybe just two. I think I can get another one on there. Oops, got away. Grab another one. There we go. All right, well, I know that was a long video, but I really wanted to show you something a little more extravagant that you can do with some of these beautiful sweets and papers. And I will probably line the inside of the box with a coordinating paper as well. Maybe put one on the lid. But that is our magnificent, or we should call it our marvelous, Dragonfly Garden keepsake box that you'll be proud to display. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you'll be back on Wednesday for Watercolor Wednesday when we paint the hellebores. Remember to subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage, and you can do that on my website. I've got a lot coming up. Tomorrow is the big day. That's when the new catalog goes live, and you'll be able to get your celebration products for every $50 or $100 that you spend. If you need a catalog, let me know. I'll be happy to send one to you. And if you have any questions at all, just send me an email, message me, and I'll be happy to talk with you. So stay well, stay creative, and I will see you next time.